A couple of months ago, I just had the urge to play launcher games. I don't know what about them compelled me to do a short marathon. Maybe it's just because the genre is basically dead, a status no other genre can truly claim to be. Like, really, even if something is on a bit of a downswing, new games still come out, or a couple of major entries are keeping the genre afloat. Launchers were almost entirely exclusive to Flash, so now they're entirely exclusive to the memories of people that used to play them. Nobody makes launchers anymore. Every major entry had its fans, but I don't think many of them would have considered themselves a fan of the genre. If any of them ever did, they've likely have moved on by now. I like a lot of these games, but I still would not consider myself a die-hard launcher fan. All of them are silly and don't take themselves seriously, but it's not a genre I would ever put in my top 10. Maybe that's why its presence has faded. So anyway, like a burning memory, one last moment of clarity before a goodbye. Toss the turtle, an early symbol of the genre, and to me personally, a symbol of Newgrounds. Actually, Pico and Newground Rumble would be a better fit, but that's for some point in the future. You blast a turtle out of a cannon into what seems to be no man's land. Money is given depending on how far you go, and some other stuff, but like 99% of the cash is going to be from distance. I would say avoid spikes or aim for the scattered explosives, but you can't really do that. Turtles can't exactly glide, so Franklin here is in perpetual freefall. Every gun is built to bounce the turtle upwards. It's best used when you're close to terminal velocity. Shooting the guy when he's going downwards reverses all momentum and sends him upwards even faster. The only means of control you have is just meant to keep your turtle airborne. You can't actively dodge the spikes, and hitting beneficial things is up to luck. Early game is also quite slow. You don't go that far. The slingshot basically does nothing. I'm at the mercy of RNG, just hoping something hits me that might send me flying. The progression system feels kind of jank. The money required for early upgrades take many launches to get, but once you buy them, your cash flow explodes, and the later cannons and guns just start being given to you. Guns are locked behind distance requirements. Multiple guns have the same requirement, and some are just objectively stronger. The height limit is strangely low. Well, it's not really a limit. You can go higher than 1,000 feet, but you won't be seeing the turtle. Slow early game aside, it doesn't take that long for you to be able to penetrate the skybox. There isn't a defined end goal like many other launchers, but if you're happy with achievement hunting, that's the closest equivalent. Some of them even give stats. You know what? I'm being a bit down on this turtle, and that's likely because I'm judging it based on the criteria of something this game isn't. I know what this type of game is. It's a mobile game, and I mean a good mobile game. The ones that you play while bored on the bus or waiting for your number to be called. The ones where the progression doesn't matter that much. No end goal is needed, and having gameplay based around luck just means better replayability. Toss the Turtle has good, in-the-moment fun. This type of game is perfect for a school computer lab, but I'm old now. Eating too many sweets will give me a stomachache. Nobody ever told me that my sugar resistance naturally decreases as I age, and I feel like they should have. I've played many different types of games at this point, and most of them have some sort of big picture to them. How all the different gameplay/progression systems intertwine with each other to make something larger. Toss the Turtle is a perfect example of a small picture game. It has fun gameplay, and the systems around it either don't exist or are there under contractual obligation. Playing this on desktop just doesn't feel correct anymore. This was a quick and fun game that I used to play in between classes. There's not much to do long term. Mobile games didn't really exist in the same form in 2009, but Toss the Turtle would be a perfect fit. So yeah, that's exactly what they did. Toss the Turtle 2. They cleaned up the art a bit, added a few more mechanics, and even rebalanced some of the progression. It's pretty much the exact same. Shoot and watch as your turtle gets the shit beat out of him. The air is filled with cash bags and new obstacles. Shells are this game's standard mobile premium currency. Honestly, I think the monetization is actually pretty fair. The main usage is just a skin gacha. If you hate turtles, hit this slot machine for a maybe better animal. I mean, you can also use shells to boost money income, which does slightly balk the progression scale I just said they improved improved, but the numbers are still better tuned than the first game. Besides that, the game is perfect for what it is. Toss the Turtle 1 was made for mobile, and 2 made that happen. I feel like maybe this was where the genre was supposed to end up. Some early Flash games are kind of built like good mobile games. The very first launcher even had a semi-vertical aspect ratio. Hedgehog Launch, at least I think it's the first launcher, made by JMTB02, a man that's very important to Flash games and who has a giant catalog of some pretty milestone creations, likely most known for the Elephant Collection. In Hedgehog Launch, we're a scientist of a micronation that has been given $50 to start a space program. Our mission is to launch our country's national animal, the hedgehog, into space with a big slingshot. This is the exact tone of many JMTB games. We collect money in the air and ride up these slides. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to bounce on these things, but sliding upwards is faster. You control some of the hedgehog's movements with these miniature rocket nozzles. We eventually get there cause fuck you physics. The game is beaten in like 10 minutes. Very short, slightly fun, launched an entire genre. I had no idea that a sequel came out. Hedgehog 2 starts us deep underground. Our Hedgehog launch was too much of a success, so we've been banned from doing it by the UN. But our lawyers tell us that we can continue if we start our launch below the planet's crust. So that's why we start every launch upside down. There's a lot more upgrades in 2, but gameplay's about the same. It feels a bit smoother to fly in the air though. We get to the moon even faster this time, but turns out the end goal is actually Mars. Hedgehog Launch did the space thing quite early. The upgrades are quite broken. Slingshot height maxing gets me way too far, and the game is like 15 minutes long. It was a good bit of silly fun though. JMTB was very good at making these type of games. This one just happened to spawn a genre, most of which kept the light-hearted silly tone, with one major exception. Flight. This is a very generic name. Like, I remember this game pretty vividly, but the name never stuck in my head. I had to spend an unnecessary amount of time finding it again. This is the only major launcher that did not attempt to have an intentionally strange premise, staying relatively grounded. This isn't to say that it's like super edgy, but the setting isn't anything crazy. We are a paper airplane. We travel the world because I assume when we land, people pick us up and throw us, daisy chaining from one kid to Santa Claus. Flight's tone tries to be more inspiring, I guess? Grandiose? What's the correct word for this? It's the feeling of going on a long journey. Adventurous. The game feels adventurous, mostly due to the great music, which I cannot use cause it's copyrighted, but it has good vibes. There are a bunch of things to catch in the sky. Collect these stars for cash. Each one gives $5. Cranes are multipliers that increase the amount of cash stars give. They max out at 5x. Shooting stars don't give cash, but do give the plane a good kick forwards. If you're close to the ground, you could get lucky and hit a windmill that will propel you back upwards. Later, we may get to space, which has purple stars, all of which give $25 but can't be multiplied by cranes. We start out as a basic paper plane. We have no control over movement, and it's up to how generous the winds are feeling. There are a lot of upgrades. Many are just stats, but some are unique. There's a button that turns all stars into rainbow stars. Rainbow stars give us a slight boost when touched, and considering how many stars are in the air, the boost we get is basically constant, at least for that short duration. The most expensive upgrade makes it so that when we hit the ground, we transform into a papercraft version of a different launcher's mascot, causing us to bounce a bunch, which gives slightly more distance. Honestly, it's not that strong considering how expensive it is, but come on, this is a neat way to reference this game's peers. The most important upgrades are the ones to the plane model. For one, this is the thing that gives us fuel, which allows us to actually control the plane. Secondly, I just like how the folds get more detailed as we tech up. I don't know, I just like this. Tickles my brain just right. The core loop is quite fun. Later plane models allows us pretty wide control of our movement. This gives us a good amount of freedom to just screw around. The system of progression is balanced well. You always feel like you're moving forward, and each upgrade feels meaningful. The story is just a paper plane visiting people across the world before arriving in Santa's house. Weird how like most of the people we met never got their issues resolved. Like, it starts with a kid wanting to see their mom for Christmas and writing a letter to Santa about it. That letter is our plane. The message is lost pretty quickly. The plane is picked up by a French dude that can't read English. He misinterprets it as a love letter from a stranger and erases the kid's message in order to go after an imaginary love. Third is a dude in Egypt that lost his camel. He can't read French, and for some reason he thinks two people getting together would cause a fire big enough to destroy Earth, so he writes a warning in his blood and sends the plane along the way. Next is a kid in Kenya who mistakes the plane for a fallen bird and sends it back into the sky as a means of helping it. Second to last is a struggling musician in Tokyo. He draws his song's melody on the plane before tossing it back to the winds as a means of advertising his original, I think. Finally, we end with Santa. Tired, the plane arrives at its intended destination, but not a trace of the kid's wish can be found. The end. Kind of strange, but more serious than most launches. One of the reasons I play a lot of games is because I love exploring worlds, even if the world is the one I'm currently in and I'm just too broke to explore it in real life. I mean, we don't actually explore the world in flight. The game is just really good at conveying how it could feel. For that reason, this is the launcher I think about the most, but I would not say it's my favorite, because that title belongs to Knightmare Tower. Made by Juicy Beast, the people behind Burrito Bison. 10 princesses get trapped in a tower, and we have to go save them from a rage face. We're going straight vertical this time, and there's a bit of actual combat. A wall of lava is chasing us down, and each time we fall off screen, we lose speed, and the lava makes some distance. If we don't attack, we naturally fall. Maintain height by attacking monsters. Increase speed by killing monsters. Each tower section broken through will give us a princess and a new mechanic. Stronger monster types will show up the higher we go, and the monster types we already know will get tougher variants. In the beginning, I only cared about maintaining enough speed to avoid the lava, but later on, the monsters became enough of a threat that I actually had to care about my HP. We have a speed counter that gets gradually worn down by air resistance. Every monster killed increases speed and adds to this boost meter, which of course gives a big speed boost once this meter is filled. Everything I just mentioned can be upgraded. Progression is pretty well done, both system progression and tower progression. The ways new monsters and mechanics get introduced is perfect. It's a great way to ease information to the player. A small thing that I love is how the evolved versions of each monster type has a different look to them, like this basic imp. All it does is jump. Doesn't have spikes, doesn't shoot anything at you, doesn't have a giant hurt box. It just jumps and takes up space. It starts out as just a little guy with tiny arms, but angrier versions show up as we go higher. Then they get horns and sharp teeth. Eventually they start getting jacked, and all this time they act mechanically the exact same as the little guy. I love it, it's great. It's a nice little detail that took some effort to put in. There's already plenty of enemy types, so they don't even need to do anything different. They just need to have more health. Speaking of which, the way we increase our attack is a bit different. We don't have an attack stat per se. Rather, each sword tier takes a certain number of hits to kill some enemies. A tier 2 sword might take 3 hits to kill enemy A, so the tier 3 sword will take 2 hits to kill, and the tier 4 sword will take 1 hit. Enemies get 1 hit stronger for each tower section we pass. It's important that they at least look different. This system feels like we're maintaining power instead of getting stronger. I'm fairly certain this is also how a lot of games balance themselves, but the wires are just a bit less opaque with a system like this. It does eventually cap out, and survival mode has infinitely scaling enemies, so this is just a way for the game to cap us in the endless mode. In most games, attack is one of the most important stats, but here it's about as strong as everything else. Although if you want a true taste of power, then the potion is going to be your focus. I did not remember all the buffs stacking. Every single effect is just in one potion, and the later ones make you literally invincible. The very last effect turns you into Burrito Bison. It's a godsend against this actually kind of challenging final boss. This is a 3-phase boss fight. It's a bullet hell. Maintain the field by clearing the cannons and laser turrets, and attack Rage Face when he appears. I remember this being easier when I was younger. After beating him, we take the princesses back to the king, and it turns out we saved the wrong ones. The king that sent for our help was a king of ducks, and the princesses we were meant to save were in a much easier tower. So where did the ones we saved come from? Are we going to send them back, or what? If you don't remember the duck cutscene, that might be because Juicy Bees did update some things, including new opening and ending cutscenes that technically contain all of the game's story. Nah, I'm just gaslighting. Of course these things were in the old version. A lot of people seem to forget about them for some reason. There are actually a bunch of gameplay differences though. The speed boost meter is completely new. The old version had this combo meter. Every monster kill would give you extra speed depending on what combo level you were at. This mechanic was shown to us via these plus numbers, which honestly made the UI look kind of clunky. In the new version, the cash bags are worth more, but some upgrades are more expensive. The progress meter is also new. The Rage Face fight has changed quite a bit. There's no longer a laser phase. They got blended in with the cannons. Some dodging sections have completely new patterns, and we don't get the red-lined indicators anymore. But most important of all, the control scheme has completely changed. The old version had mouse controls. The new version only has keyboard. Move left, right, and press down or space to attack, compared to just Knight follows mouse, click to attack. This makes the Knight in the original version way easier to control. He also just seems faster. This is my cope for why the final boss feels harder. Also, these cutscenes are actually completely new. I was just lying. So that's Knightmare Tower. The Steam version does feel like a bit of a mini remake. I think the boost meter is better than the combo meter, but I wish they would at least give us the option to play with mouse controls. Otherwise, it holds up super well. I had a lot of fun. I didn't even mention the great and silly aesthetics, but that's pretty standard for the genre, and especially from the guys that made Burrito Bison. Knightmare Tower came relatively late to launches, 2014. Not many were being made at this point. I'm pretty sure some were still cooking, but I feel that this was the biggest game of the genre before it started to slowly die out. One day, for whatever reason, somebody will remember launchers and create something new, and maybe, just maybe, that will be enough for it to get its minute in the spotlight. Alright, next is something a bit more specific.